middle of the rice fields in Bali for an interview with the amazing Shiva Rajaya, who's a fantastic teacher of Tantra, transformation, personal development, mastery of life.
Welcome to Shiva's temple.
Welcome back to Heart with me, Shakti Sundari. This morning I have the pleasure and the delight of being in this beautiful space with the most beautiful man, Shiva Rajaya.
Rajaya.
Yeah. Rajaya. And it's great fun because I'm sitting in his swing and it's red and I'm red and he's red. And we're just going to explore being together and meeting in his space and see what emerges, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to be here. Thank you for, I feel honored to have your visit here. Come and check my temple. Yeah.
I'm super excited, actually, because we came to one of your, we came to a bit of your workshop the other day.
Yes.
And I've only seen a little bit of you on YouTube before that, so I don't know much about you, Shiva, but I've experienced you, and just walking into your temple here, I'm struck straight away by all the words around us. What are all these words?
Well, if you look at the place, the house is an octagon, right? It's a crystal. It's like what we are in right now. Instead of being like a pyramid shape, it's a different form of crystal, but it's still a crystal. And the way the place was initiated is like creating a gate of transmission or a gate of activation. It means that the idea is when you come into this space, your life is being transformed by just being in this space, changed. And so the words are anchor points for very specific concepts or energies. You know, for instance, if we take clarita or magus, magus is for magic, right? We go, or we take the word like libertasa, yeah, unita. It's calling core vibrations or frequencies that we need in our system. And so when you write a word and you put it on your wall, it's like you are teaching your personal environment how to reflect that quality to you. Everything, every object in your life is going to reflect a certain vibration, a certain emotional commentary, or a certain emotional comment into your system and reflect that to you. And so we have the power to create environments which are very consciously designed. You know, if you live inside a crystal, it's like that reflects a certain degree of harmony that we want to bring into our lives. And so adding the words is adding this quality of awareness and identifying the core values that I want to function with and the core values that I want people to receive when they come into that space. It's all an experiment. You notice also that I use different colors. For instance, I use the black, I use the red to activate what I call a fire circle, and then upstairs there is another temple space.
What is there?
And so I use the gold, I use the silver, and then there is the sacred geometry over there as well. Yeah. So each object is anchoring a certain, certain vibration or a certain frequency. The Ankh cross and the infinity sign, you know. Yeah. And when you look at those words, you know, something else is that the aesthetic value could be higher. You know, I could put more beauty. I could make it more, but the consciousness that is contained in them is there.
What is this? What's on this?
These are sets like that I've been playing with, activating now. I use the word a word now, an identity that I call the Asisa.
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 What does that mean?
So you have Isis, you know, the ancient goddess of Egypt, and then you have Isisa, which is the actualized form, the way it came to me in the pyramids in Egypt. And then I went into the White Desert and I kept reactivating that form. So that temple is a lot dedicated to this ancient goddess energy.
Okay.
And a couple of months back, the word Isisa started evolving towards Asisa. And I realized that Asisa became like a male version or my own identity within that field.
Okay.
So it's, I'm still called Shiva, but I have different identities that I play with, like you are Shakti, Sundari, right? And so...
so you're Shiva Rajaya. Rajaya is like the king.
Yeah, the victorious king.
King.
The victorious king. I use also the word victorious fire. So my system, I call it Rajaya Tantra. So it's the teaching of the victorious fire. Yeah.
So fire is something that we played with in your workshop. Is fire the element that you feel most drawn to, or that you play with most in your work?
Yeah, basically yes. I don't know why it came like that. I think it's because it's the element for Shiva. It's the fire that transforms, that changes, that destroys. And we are a bit afraid of the word destruction, but we don't have to. We can. The word destruction is actually a very powerful thing, because it's like if you own that, you own the renewal power, the transformation power in your system. Then it allows you to be in a state of clarity and freshness, and being reborn a little bit every day. That's the idea. Yeah. So fire is like it's one of the core qualities that you get here.
Want to play?
It's good.
Yes, very inviting to playfulness.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, where can we go now? So these codes, you talk about codes and mantras quite a bit. What is the significance of these codes for you?
Well, imagine that we function with programs, right, as human beings. That our thought patterns, our belief systems, what we do in life is not just something that happened like that. It's actually codes that were imprinted in human consciousness by forces that are much vaster than ourselves. So, gods and goddesses, angelic hierarchies, we can look at this without going there. Imagine that it's just like forces that are much vaster than humankind, that traveling across the galaxy, that are actually evolved like 5 million years ahead of us. We can consider also human-like races, that populate the galaxy. So imagine that right now we are being watched by beings that are way, way more advanced than we are. We have the power to access transmission, telepathic transmission inside of us. Then suddenly you wake up one morning and you go like, oh. And you start being inspired to create a new language, like the Sanskrit language 3,000 years ago maybe. I don't know when it started exactly. Yeah. But suddenly there is an energy that embodies itself and that is being transmitted into humankind. And that takes the form of a language. And in this language you have codes of light, certain frequencies that are anchored. Like the Sanskrit language is not just a language for practical things. It's not just for going to the bakery and buying bread. It's describing the dynamics of the universe. Yeah.
So do you know, are you sort of intimately acquainted with Sanskrit? Have you studied it?
Yeah, but by myself. I didn't study grammar. I studied the calligraphy and very simple ways of using. So I used the Sanskrit language. But now I go back to using something that is more Latin, Spanish, and French inspired. But it's also a new language. For instance, if I have to use a certain word, I will tune into the frequency and then identify a word that is a new code that doesn't exist yet. Right. But is inspired by the existing languages already.
Right. So that's what we see all around us here in this beautiful space. You're actually kind of downloading and uploading at the same time, creating this new transmission.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even aware that was part of what you do. I had this idea of you very much as being this person who, you do these daily or very common videos
Yeah.
on YouTube which talk about energy and breath and tantra and relating and all of this.
Yeah.
So, what is it that you're most passionate about in what you're doing?
Well, the place where the passion anchors itself is like we see, I see that we are one human race and we are evolving together. So I come from a place of naturally wanting to serve and wanting to help humankind and the planet evolve in whatever way I can, just help. And so this is the passion, the place where it comes from. Is like if you and I are having a coaching conversation, or you come to an event or something, I will look at you as be like, "What do you need? How can I help you?" And then I will be like, "Wow, what would help you is maybe here, have some drink, something that will pump you up, or here, try this breathing, or try this code, or try this word, And so I will try to give you tools that are going to help you evolve. And the goal is like, first, it's energetic optimization of your system on different areas, on the area of sex and relationships and love life and social life, then the body, the mind, money, and spirit. So it's 5 branches. It's very specific, it's not just anything. So I will check where is the area where your being can get a boost.
Yeah.
And then I will look at that and then try to identify the empowering tactics that we can use to bring you in deeper alignment and frequency with your highest potential. And so if we do that on a one-on-one, we do that in a group, and then we do that on a larger scale, on a planetary level. Whereas when I record a video, then that video might be impacting on the lives of, thousands of people. Yeah. And so that's the idea. That's my passion, is like to broadcast, to transmit, to help people around the world, and help us evolve.
And all these amazing tools that you call upon in your coaching and in your workshops, what are the different strands of technique, tools that you work with?
A lot of what I'm doing right now is inspired by Tantra and yoga. So, I have a source which is like the source of the Ganges in the Himalayas, very specific places where I go back to, where you have caves and you have places where you go, and some of these caves are really like broadcasting stations. You sit there and you go, because people have been activating these places to become really points of anchoring and transmission. And so, I sit down there, I go through these valleys where you have invisible beings really helping the process and guiding the experience. And then you get the insights, and then you go like, okay, well, this is what I have to bring back into the world. So there is that, there is the Tantra, there is the ancient mysticism from Egypt, that I actualize today. But basically anything that, it's a mix of lots of different traditions. Like sometimes I will use some Sufi traditions, some Sufi techniques, sometimes it's going to be Christian mysticism inspired. But right now it's the vital Tantra system, you have something that I call the vital Tantra. So that's the system that I'm developing. But within that, the vital Tantra aims at optimizing the different parts of your life. Once you're optimized and you enter into service for the planet and humankind, then you go beyond the Tantra. You go beyond that, and that becomes direct transmission from codes, which then you are released into your own expression. And I use terms like galactivation, because I feel that where we are evolving to is like we are preparing ourselves for space travel. And space travel, I don't mean physical space travel. It means that our consciousness has the power right now to activate itself to the point where our center of reference for our consciousness becomes the galactic core. It's not even anymore our sun. It's like we have enough understanding right now to realize that there is a convergence of energy, that where the center of our universe is no longer our sun. It's like there is a higher point of power and energy which is developing itself in our consciousness, where we go like, wow, okay, There is a point there. And so I use terms like galactic grid, galactic hierarchy, galactic core, you know, and I feel like there was a very specific shift in my consciousness at one point where I feel like I went from being earth-based to being galactic-based. Yeah. And since then, my roots have been growing into into space. Yeah. I know it can feel like a bit strange because, you know, we are breaking the traditional frames and you go like, oh, that guy is really losing it, you know, but
it's like... really got it.
Yeah, well, it's like, think about it and think about the fact that we're on this tiny little planet in the middle of this vast universe and we go like, there is no consciousness beyond there. We are the only point of reference for intelligence on this vast universe, you say. It doesn't even make rational sense. Why would we be the only ones, you know, existing there? So imagine that suddenly we open the space to the possibility that there is intelligent forms beyond the planet Earth. And we look at it beyond the romanticized forms of aliens coming and shaking hands with us. We look beyond that and we look like intelligence has much vaster fields like nature and the sun, solar intelligence, the solar logos. And we look at beings that are actually omnipresent in different parts of the galaxy or different parts of our universe.
So is that something you're very much tapped into, like dimensions beyond just this, yourself?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's and imagine that in those beings you have thousands or millions of human-like races in the galaxy or beyond the galaxy. But let's look at the galaxy. And imagine that in those millions or thousands of human-like races, some of them are much more evolved than us, like 3 million years ahead of us. Imagine where we will be 3 million years from now. Maybe we would be able to telepath and transmute and transform and be in eternal bodies and be like, you know, traveling across the universe, just, you know, it's like we would have developed abilities and technology that we cannot even dream of. Imagine in 100 years what we did. We went from not being able to fly to take a rocket to the moon and bring back human beings from there. And now we are communicating through telepathic objects, creating brain energy waves that allow us to be synchronizing with the rest of the planet instantly. And this is just in 100 years. So imagine that we speed up the process of evolution and we have been speeding up really big time over the last 100 years. Imagine like 500 years from now, what will our technology look like? It's crazy, right? And so we are taking such big leaps that right now we are, the possibilities are just infinite. Yeah. Yeah. Hup! Here we go.
Okay. The bond's not in properly. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have a house where instead of looking at it from a practical perspective with table and chairs and couches, turn the space into a playhouse, you know, where you can really enjoy and have fun and create more activity in it. That's the whole idea. It's fun, right?
It's great fun.
What do you prefer, sitting on the couch or being on the swing?
Being on the swing?
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
Yes, very inviting to play with this.
Yeah.